Hey everybody, my name's Max, and my transition from a male to a female was confusing for the love of my life, or who I thought was the love of my life. But once I started recording myself in the shower, everybody seemed to be on board. Don't worry, it's not what you think. And I'll explain about my shower shows and the boy I was in love with. And I'll also tell you about how he rejected me and what happened when he saw me years later. But first, I just want to say to everybody out there watching that if you really love yourself, there's nothing that can stop you from living the life you want. So no matter what, be sure not to let other people's opinions get in your head. Take all those negative comments you hear and just let them roll right off your back. That's what I did, but it took me a long time to get there. I've known for quite some time that I wasn't living in the right body. I grew up around my dad and 3 older brothers who were like young replicas of my dad. These oafs were always smacking me around and trying to toughen me up. Don't worry, I held my own just fine. But they were such jerks. I developed a pretty gruff exterior myself. But inside, I knew I was nothing like them. We fought about everything under the sun. I was pretty scrappy when I first met Dominic. I had feelings for him right away, but I hadn't come out yet. It wasn't simply how hot he was. We clicked. Dom and I became fast friends and shared a place for 16 months. In that time, we fell in love with beer together, and I fell in love with Dom. Little by little, he got into my head and into my heart. It was a love that ached, and I wanted so badly to tell him, but Dom was straight. That was obvi. So I never said anything. Even after all the parties and late nights, I was afraid I would lose him as a friend if he knew how I felt, or who I really was. But that naturally happened anyways. Dom moved away when he snagged a great engineering job. Later, I started writing for this food magazine. Life was busy, and we kind of lost touch over the next couple years, but I never forgot him. Sometimes, on sleepless nights, I wished I had told Dom how I felt about him back when we were living together. He was pretty straight, and I was afraid I might lose him as a friend if I told him how I really felt, and who I really was. In that time, I've come out, but my love life wasn't much to write home about. In fact, I was considering transitioning and starting to take hormone replacement, but I never mentioned it to Dom. I didn't think I needed to. Heck, I doubted I'd ever see him again. But one day, I got a call from him. The sound of his voice made my heart start jumping. He wanted to meet up for a beer. I don't know why, but I put on a bulky hoodie, like I used to wear when we'd hang out. I told myself I should be myself, but I just wanted to reminisce, not have some big dramatic reveal. We met up, and I thought we would call it a night after a few laughs, but Dom didn't want me to leave. He kept trying to get me to stay. And he wouldn't stop about the old times and how much fun we had. Finally, I said I had to go, and that's when he broke down. "I've been trying to get up the nerve to ask you for something," he said. I got lost in his eyes, and my heart started doing that dance that told me I should get out of there. "Can I go home with you?" he said. I was stunned. Was he hitting on me? My job. I lost my job, and I don't have anywhere to go. I had an extra room at my house, so I told Dom he could stay with me until he found a job. That night, I couldn't help but think I was getting a second chance with Dom. But then, I thought that I should just leave it be. Let's just say there were many more sleepless nights. But I did stop taking hormone replacements and going to electrolysis. Instead, I spent the time hanging out with Dom. We'd play video games all day and night, and grill burgers for breakfast, laughing about the old times. To be honest, it was a blast. We heard about this new trend where people drink a beer in the shower. And since I'm a food critic, sort of, I would review the beer. I wore swim trunks, and Dom would record me trying new beers in the shower. Dom and I would edit the videos in our spare time, and we wanted to start a channel or a video blog or something. We were going to call it Shower Brews, and Dom said I would be the best host. He said I was funny and my reviews made him thirsty. It was destined to be a hit, we predicted, but we never finished putting it together before things got weird. It all happened when Dom and I went to check out this new brewery in town. Dom kept checking out all these girls and talking about women. Little did he know that I was a woman too, on the inside. I wondered how Dom would react if he saw me as a woman. I used to think he would reject me, but maybe he would flirt with me like he did those other girls. In either case, I couldn't go on being somebody I wasn't. I continued my electrolysis, and it felt great having a smooth face again. I decided to put on a little mascara one night and wait for Dom to comment. "You look weird, dude," he said. "I'm wearing mascara," I told him. He didn't say anything, like he was waiting for me to drop a punchline or for the universe to make sense again. His silence made me nervous, and I began rambling. I rattled off the other makeup I liked to wear. I talked about the clothes I preferred and how I was taking hormone supplements to transition from a male to female. When it finally sunk in, Dom accused me of lying to him. I wasn't lying, I told him, but he couldn't see me like he used to. I told him I was the same, but he said that I couldn't do the shower brew show as a woman. "Why not?" I asked. "You just can't," he said. He was frustrated and inarticulate, and he mumbled and cursed to himself while he packed his things. I was devastated, and at first I was mad at myself for chasing him away. I didn't wear the clothes I wanted to or put on the makeup. I couldn't even drink a beer without it reminding me of Dom. But that's when I started to get mad at him for having so much control over my feelings. I hated how I was sad about him, and I had to remind myself that I wanted to transition before Dom, and that hadn't changed. So I got serious about my transition. I watched makeup tutorials and shopped at thrift stores to put together my wardrobe. I grew my hair out and rocked extensions. The more I followed my heart, the easier it was to live as a confident woman, and the easier it was to put myself out there. I didn't think about Dom nearly as much. I even met a young man named George who was a really understanding guy, and it felt great to have somebody to spend time with. George was a food critic too, so we had a lot in common, and he encouraged me to be myself. One night, I told him about the shower brew show that I wanted to do once. "I can't do it anymore," I said. George didn't understand why I couldn't do the show, and I said that it worked better with a masculine type. "Who says?" he asked. The more we talked about it, the more I realized he was right. It's not just straight guys that drink beer, and I couldn't let those kinds of stereotypes box me in. I decided to go for it, and George helped me put together a ragtag production crew. We recorded a few episodes, and the videos were a hit. Immediately, people were requesting for more reviews and suggesting different breweries to check out. The channel hit such numbers that I was even offered a slot on a Food Network. We hit the jackpot. I never thought that I would ever be able to afford reassignment surgery, but now that I was rolling in the dough, it wasn't a problem. And after a series of surgeries, the me inside looked like the me on the outside. The best thing I ever did was ignore Dom's advice. And funny enough, it was upon that very realization that he came back into my life again. He caught up with me at one of our old haunts, and my heart started pounding again when I saw him. But this time, it wasn't a crush. It was anger and hurt. I thought he was there to trample on my heart or threaten to sue me over the show. I almost threw my beer in his face. I almost walked right out the door. But Dom stopped me with an apology. He admitted that I had a right to be mad, and he admitted that he could have been more mature about it all. "I thought I knew you, and then you were just this completely different person." I understood how he was confused, but I told him I was the same person underneath. "I see that now," he said. It took me a while. He explained that when he saw the shower brew show on TV, he realized that underneath the body, I hadn't changed at all. You see, there's a valuable lesson for all of us, regardless of your gender. Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. His apology meant a lot, and before he left, I asked him if he wanted a job. We were building a new set for our next season, and I thought we could use a good designer. Dom happily accepted the job, and it was great to have my buddy back in my life. After long, it was just like the good old days, except for a couple minor details. Well, not minor. Have you held back your true self? Tell us about it in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more hidden wisdom stories. Remember, when you share our stories, you're sharing wisdom.